Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we are diving deep into one of the most famous, most brutal moments in all of literature, the assassination of Julius Caesar. We're going to break it down step by step as it all unfolds. Okay, so picture this. We're at the Capitol in Rome. It is March 15th, the infamous Ides of March. Julius Caesar strolls in, totally surrounded by the very men who are about to murder him. He spots that soothsayer, the guy who warned him to beware the Ides of March, and Caesar, brimming with confidence, just can't help himself. He basically says, "Well, the day's here, and look at me, I'm perfectly fine." But the soothsayer's reply? Man, it is just chilling. A Caesar, but not gone. It's like something out of a horror movie. In just a few words, Shakespeare cranks the tension up to 11. The day has arrived, sure, but it is far from over, and you just know something terrible is about to happen. All right, let's get into our first section here, the point of no return. In these next few moments, we're going to see how Caesar's own epic-level arrogance, this sense of being untouchable, makes him completely blind to the very obvious dangers closing in around him. First up, a man named Artemidorus literally runs up to him. This guy knows everything. He has a letter that details the entire assassination plot, naming every single conspirator. He's desperately trying to hand it to Caesar. This is it. This is the last possible chance to avoid disaster. And what does Caesar do? He just waves it away. Ever the public figure, he announces that his personal business can wait. The people of Rome come first. And it's this very act of seeming so noble, so selfless, that is the single decision that seals his fate. It's just dripping with irony. So, with Caesar having literally pushed away his own salvation, the conspirators know there's no turning back. Now we're going to see how they brilliantly maneuver themselves into the perfect positions for the attack. And you have to admire the coordination here. This is a well-oiled machine. Trebonius gets the most important job, get Mark Antony out of the room. Antony is Caesar's biggest, most dangerous ally. The second he's gone, Metellus Cimber creates the distraction. He kneels down with this petition, which gives all the other conspirators the perfect excuse to crowd in close, pretending they support the plea. Caesar, of course, is completely disgusted by this whole display. He mocks them for what he calls their base spaniel fawning, basically calling them pathetic begging dogs. He's so full of contempt that he completely misreads the situation. He thinks he's looking at weakness, but what he's really seeing is a pack of wolves circling for the kill. And now, here we are, the absolute climax of the scene. This is the moment where Caesar's ego goes from merely gigantic to truly cosmic, right before he's brought crashing down to earth. As they're all kneeling around him, Caesar launches into this breathtakingly arrogant speech. He compares himself to the northern star, the one fixed, unmoving point in the entire sky. He's essentially saying, all you other men are just people. You can be swayed, but I am constant. I am unchangeable. He's basically claiming to be a god, which is the exact thing the conspirators were afraid of. He's literally making their case for them. And bam, at the very peak of this speech, Casca shouts, "Speak, hands for me," and stabs Caesar in the back of the neck. Immediately, all the others jump in. It's a frenzy. And then comes the final, most devastating cut of all, from Marcus Brutus. As Caesar turns and sees his dear friend Brutus, a man he truly loved, a man he mentored, with a dagger in his hand, his will to live just vanishes. That famous line, "Et tu, Brute, and you too, Brutus," it's not just surprise. It is pure, soul-crushing heartbreak. The other daggers kill his body, but this betrayal, this kills his spirit. If even Brutus wants him dead, then there's nothing left to fight for. So he pulls his toga over his face and lets himself fall. Okay, so Caesar is dead on the Senate floor. What happens now? Utter chaos. People are screaming, senators are running for their lives. But the conspirators? They don't run. Instead, they immediately start trying to control the narrative, to frame this brutal murder as a glorious act of liberation. They start shouting their slogans to the rafters, trying to sell their story from the very first second. And listen to the words they use. Liberty, freedom, tyranny. This is pure political spin. They're telling everyone that Caesar had to die to save the Roman Republic from a king. This is their justification. And then Brutus does something that is just wow. It's so chilling and theatrical. He directs this bizarre, gruesome ritual. He tells them all to stoop down and literally bathe their hands and their swords in Caesar's blood. They're not trying to hide the evidence, no, they're turning it into a symbol. The plan is to walk out into the streets of Rome waving their bloody swords, showing them off as proof of a noble sacrifice for freedom. But just when the conspirators think they've won, that they control the story, a wild card enters the game, and his name is Mark Antony. Cassius, who's the sharpest one in the group, immediately asks the right question. He knows Antony is their single biggest threat. This isn't just some random friend. Antony is charismatic, he's a brilliant speaker, and the people of Rome love him. They quickly find out he fled to his house, completely stunned by the news. When Antony finally comes back, he doesn't come in swinging. He does something way more clever and way more unsettling. He walks right up to Caesar's body, and then he goes down the line, one by one, and shakes the still bloody hand of every single man who murdered his friend. It looks like he's making peace, but what he's really doing is marking each man, remembering each face for the revenge he's already planning. And this slide just lays it all out there, right? The two faces of Mark Antony. To them, he says, "Friends am I with you all, and love you all." But the second they leave him alone with Caesar's body, his true feelings come roaring out. He begs the corpse for forgiveness for being so meek and gentle with these butchers. The grief is absolutely real. The friendliness is 100% an act. And this right here, this is the turning point for the entire play. Because Brutus, in an effort to be noble and fair, makes a mistake. A massive, catastrophic mistake. He basically hands Mark Antony a loaded weapon. See, Antony has just one request. He wants to speak at Caesar's public funeral. Cassius sees the trap immediately. He practically begs Brutus, "You don't know what you're doing. Don't let him speak." But Brutus, bless his honorable, naive heart, overrules him. He thinks he can control the situation with a few simple rules. Antony has to speak after him, and he's not allowed to blame them. The moment Antony is alone, that mask of grief shatters, and what's underneath is pure, unholy rage. He delivers this terrifying prophecy of a brutal civil war that's going to tear all of Italy apart. A war so horrific, he says, that mothers will actually smile when they see their own babies chopped to pieces by soldiers, because death and destruction will be that common. And this is his final vow. This is one of the most bone-chilling lines in all of Shakespeare. To cry havoc was a real military order back then. It meant no quarter, no mercy. It was the signal to unleash total, unrestrained slaughter. He is promising to let loose the dogs of war on these men and burn their world to the ground. And that leaves us with the big question that hangs over the rest of this incredible tragedy. Was Brutus's idealism, his unwavering belief in honor, his greatest strength? Or was it actually his greatest weakness? The fatal flaw that not only sealed his own fate, but also doomed the very republic he killed Caesar to save.